to the Breakfast Show on Faith FM. This is the best place to start your day with positive and uplifting thoughts. You're listening across Australia on 87.8, 88, or 87.6, depending on where you are. You can also listen to us through our Faith FM app. Today's Monday, January 12. I am Skafy, and I'm here in the studio with my friend Dan, who's going to be co-hosting this program with me. Good morning to you, Dan.
Good morning.
And
it's great to be alive this morning.
It's great to have you here and to be alive.
Yeah.
And we also have a new person in our studio today because sitting on the other side with producer Shell, we have a new apprentice producer. And this is producer Tish. Good morning to you, producer Tish. She's probably very focused and concentrated, learning all of the ropes and pushing the buttons. But good morning to both of you ladies.
Good morning.
Yes. All right. Great to have you there. I'm having a gratitude today, Dan. It's kind of a double gratitude. I like how when things are aligning without me planning it to be aligning. Okay. Because today just so happened to be the second Monday of January. And you know what the second Monday of January is?
No.
Is the International Clean Your Desk Day.
Oh.
So this is the day.
Okay. I am motivated.
You're motivated?
I'm
this
motivated.
is a day to look at your desk, remove all the clutter, make sure that you have a harmonious, beautiful place to work. People have applied that to their computer files, so you can go through your files and organize your computer files as well. And yesterday, I spent major hours in my home, and let me tell you this: my wife, I got bonus points with my wife yesterday because I reorganized her pantry in such a way that it is now the envy of the neighborhood. I have everything, labeled. I even have a little section here with Asian ingredients that I dubbed them the Asian galore. But it's beautifully looking. It's flowing. Before it was a mess of things all over the place. Now I can find things there finally. So I'm very grateful.
2
for
weeks.
That's awesome.
2 weeks. And then it'll be right back the way that it was.
Yes, we here have a new Jonah the Prophet in the studio here saying that my pantry will be overthrown in 2 weeks. Well, let's see if that's going to be the case, Producer Shell. What about you, Dan? What are you grateful for?
Well, look, hey, I'm grateful for the extra motivation to clean my desk at home because it's been on my list to do. It was on my list to do yesterday, but I was busy outside. Anyway, so today it's going to happen. When I get back home from work, I'm talking about my desk at home. My desk at work, we hot desk at work. So it's always clean. Anyway, what I'm grateful for today, though, is I'm grateful in anticipation of a clean desk, but I'm grateful already that we've had 25 millimetres of rain on our property, which I'm really thankful for. The forecast was, I think the forecast at the beginning of the day yesterday was 0 to 15 millimetres.
Yeah,
so we've exceeded the.
There you go then. And speaking of which, I'll do something here. If you would like, radio friend, you who are listening to us, if you would like to see how my pantry is looking after the whole cleanup that I did yesterday, well, text me here 0491 064 669 #pantry, and I'll film it and I'll send a video to you and I'll walk you through my pantry. And I hope you like it. And I have to do it today because according to producer Shell, if I wait another week or so, it's not going to be looking as nice as it is. So if you're curious to see what Skafy's pantry look like, #pantry to 0491 064 669. We have a great show lined up for today. I'm so glad that we're together.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And it is now the time to give it a nudge to this beautiful brain of yours. Let's have these brain juices flowing a little bit this morning. And what better way there is, Dan Livingston, than to start the day with a quiz question. A freshly baked quiz question from producer Shell's desk. Producer Shell, please.
So we're going to do our first fill in the blank of the year. I don't think we've done a fill in the blank yet.
Ooh, fill in the blank. All right.
So there's 2 blanks. It's the same word though. So you only have to give me one word. And it's from Psalms 27, verse 14. Fill in the blank. Blank for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Blank for the Lord. Boy, oh boy, that could be a bunch of things, couldn't it? Mm-hmm. So.
Blank for the Lord. I don't know.
Blank for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Blank for the Lord. And if you are out there and want to play along with us, oh, Dan, well done. I'm very, very impressed. You got that right. Well done. Okay.
Producer Shell's response was to what I'd written, not to the look on my face.
Even still, yeah, for even a stab in the dark, I think you did well. 0491-064-669, blank for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Blank for the Lord. Looks like Skafy.
Okay, I think I have it now. It took a while.
Yes, you've got it.
Okay, yeah.
You've got it. Well done. So we got 2 correct answers in the studio, and we would love for you to play along. So text in, or else you will have to wait until we give the answer later on.
That was a bit of a process of elimination. Is that how you did it? Process of elimination?
No.
Like what word could fit there?
Look, I think that my brain was a little bit slow. I had a bit of a slow start for my day to day. So I was having a word in my mind, but then grammatically didn't fit.
Yeah, right.
Because the word that I actually wanted to say is pray, but then you don't pray for the Lord. You pray to the Lord.
Yeah,
it's
right.
Like, what is the other word? And so it took me a while to get into the deep chambers of my brain to come up with these, the actual word.
Yeah.
Very good. Daniel, today we are going to be looking at a story that is just so happens to fall in our Bible reading plan this week. By the way, we are following the best Bible reading plan of the universe, which is the Amazing Facts Bible reading plan. It's a Bible reading plan that does not get you stuck by January.
That's awesome.
We are following it, and we're reading the Bible together this year, and we're going to be commenting on the passages that are falling into that week. So if you'd like to get that Bible plan, by the way, listener, you don't need to worry. You don't need to inquire yourself where it is. You can text me here, #Bible plan, and we will send you the PDF you can follow. We can send you the link. But this week, one of the passages that we are reading is through Genesis chapter 25 and 26. And this is where the story of Isaac and his sons come up, particularly Jacob and Esau. And
Interesting.
we're going to be looking at their story, because their story, Jacob and Esau, the twins that were fighting one another from their mother's womb.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting things happening here, and we're going to be looking at some of them today. So why don't we open up our Bibles here in Genesis chapter 25, verses 19 to 34. And the question that we're going to be asking here is, have you ever sold something really important, really amazing, something that you really liked, but for peanuts? Have you ever sold anything on like Facebook Marketplace or whatever it is, and something that you paid dearly, but you could only sell it for a fraction of what you paid?
I think I am a little bit too tight to do that. I think I have tried to sell things and they just haven't sold, and I've refused to drop the price.
You refuse to drop their price. Okay, well, that's something that you can do. Like, well, I have definitely sold some gear that, were very dear and near to my heart. And, I got a big haircut on them because that's where it was. But I was actually glad, because I was hoping to declutter things.
Right.
So I was accepting.
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing. It was this one I haven't sold, but I almost did. I just didn't sell because I was out of the country at the time that people were making me offers. I have like an air compressor.
Yeah.
And it's an electric one. It's nice. It's I think I paid maybe $60 for it.
Okay.
It was not an expensive one. But then I just wanted to get rid of it because it was just taking a lot of space in my garage, and I was not really using it that much. And I decided to advertise it for $10. Man, oh man, my inbox was filled to the brim. Like everybody say. And now looking back, I'm kind of glad that I didn't sell. Because like, man, if so many people are so interested, it's probably because it's too cheap. You could probably get a couple of bucks extra. But we're talking about in the story about something way more important than an air compressor. We're talking about a birthright, because we are going to look at how Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of lentils. And the thing is, we sometimes are not really far from Esau, and sometimes we actually do sell our spiritual birthright for very cheap. And I don't want you to do this. I don't want myself to do this. I don't want you to do this listening. So pay attention to this Bible study because it is going to help you to identify the times where you might be tempted to sell your spiritual birthright, your blessings from God, for peanuts. And it's going to be a bitter experience.
Yeah, this is a complex story, isn't it? Because there was a prophecy that this would happen, and yet it shouldn't have done it.
That's right. Oh, yes. Yes, but there's a thing there.
Yeah.
There's a thing there. But let's look. Because it is a complex story. So let's start with the pregnancy. Isaac was married to this lady called Rebecca. She fell pregnant, and she fell pregnant to twins. So this is where our story is starting from. So Genesis chapter 25, verse 19. Dan, if you can read it for us.
This is the genealogy of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah as wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister of Laban, the Syrian. Now Isaac pleaded with the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord granted his plea, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. But the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If all is well, why am I like this?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb, two peoples shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger."
Yeah, let's just pause here for just a little second here. Well, so Rebecca was barren. We don't know exactly how they found that out. Maybe they tried and nothing happened. Maybe she went into menopause already, and then they realized that, hey, she stopped having her periods, and they realized, hey, people in ancient times knew that meant that the womb was closed, and they couldn't.
Yeah, which happened with Sarah.
Which happened with Sarah as well.
Isaac's mother.
And they prayed, and God says, look, no worries, I'm going to do a miracle here for you. And she was pregnant with twins. And these twins, they were fighting in her womb. And she came to pray to the Lord, and she was asking God, why is that happened? I mean, you have already given me a miraculous thing. I think that she was expecting that since God blessed her pregnancy, that the pregnancy would just be cruisy.
Yeah.
Don't we all have that expectation as well? If God gives us something, we kind of expect it, hey, now this is a blessing and a gift from God. Surely there will be no conflict. Surely there will be no hiccups. Surely. But that's definitely not the case. No. So it was a blessing, but there's at the same time that she could tell there was something wrong. And when she went to inquire of the Lord, God spoke to her. Well, we don't know if it's in a dream, if it's in a vision, if it's through her mind, if he showed up personally to her. But then he explained to her exactly what happens. Can you read again the prophecy that God gave her?
In verse 23, Two nations are in your womb. Two peoples shall be separated from your body. One people shall be stronger than the other, and the older shall serve the younger.
Yeah. So he says, hey, there's actually two leaders inside of you. Two men that will become patriarchs, leaders of big nations. And the interesting thing here is that the natural order, no, I wouldn't say natural, but maybe, the natural or the cultural order of things is being reversed here. Because in ancient culture, and it is still this to this day, the older brother has always authority over the younger brother. You can ask, most Middle Eastern families, and they'll tell you how the older brother is. No, you're treated differently.
Right.
You get more gifts. Yeah. You are treated better. And in this prophecy here, God is saying, hey, actually, the older brother would serve the younger.
Interesting.
Which is an interesting thing. So I think she'll be puzzled about that because that's definitely not how things normally work.
Go. Yeah.
No. Let's keep reading here, and we'll come back to that. So let's read from verse 24.
So when her days were fulfilled for her to give birth, indeed there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red. I can relate there. He was like a hairy garment all over, so they called his name Esau. Afterward his brother came out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, so his name was called Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when she bore them. So the boys grew, and Esau was a skillful hunter, a man of the field. But Jacob was a mild man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because he ate of his game, but Rebekah loved Jacob.
Okay, let's pause here. So the boys were born. We have twins here. One of them, hairy and red. They called him Esau. The other one was not hairy. And
Yeah,
he was
right.
actually very
I can
smooth.
relate to both of them. I'm not hairy, but I am a redhead.
Yeah, okay, so you're in between. If they had triplets, maybe you could have been the third,
The third
kid.
one, the third wheel.
And they were very different. They were very different in personality, as it's the case with siblings. It's kind of an interesting thing, particularly when you're a parent. Like you have two children. Would you say that their personalities are very similar, or they're quite different?
They're different, and as parents, you definitely see the differences. I would say they're probably more similar though than my brother and myself. My brother and me are
You're extreme opposites.
Yeah, total opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I am very different from my brother as well. My brother is, he's like the bold, the man of action. I'm more like the contemplative, reflective one. We don't really look alike. Even though we have the same mom and dad, we look very strikingly different.
Yeah, right.
If
That's
you
the
hear,
my
same with
brother.
you and your
Yeah,
brother,
yeah.
So here is that's what's happening here with them. And Esau, he was the man of action. He was the adventurous. He was the hunter. He wanted to spend time in the outdoors. And the interesting thing here is that we also have a pattern of which I believe it's a pattern of a dysfunctional, or somewhat at least dysfunctional pattern for a family pattern,
Yeah,
which
right.
is parents choose their favorites.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have that. No, look, I remember growing up, my father would always tell us that we were 4 siblings growing up. My dad made sure he went to great lengths to really remind us that he loved all of us equally.
Yeah, that's
Do
good.
you tell this to your kids? Or something to that effect?
Maybe not explicit. Maybe I haven't taken so much care to be explicit about that, but I have taken care to be equal. Not to give favoritism.
Yeah.
yeah. More in actions rather than in words. But yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In some families, and look, we're looking at ancient Middle Eastern, and now even modern Middle Eastern context. You do the favoritism side of things is not really, it's a thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Particularly if you had for example, if you have like a boy in the family and then they also have girls, like usually in many families, the boys are treated
yeah.
so much better.
Yeah,
they're treated
yeah,
like
yeah.
a little king.
Yeah,
whereas the girls are just kind of like left to
Yeah,
the side.
this is true. I've seen that. Yeah.
My wife grew up with an interesting dynamic where her grandmother, she felt that she was treated differently from how the other grandkids from her grandmother were. So, for example, it was a Christmas party, and then the grandmother would privilege, or she would buy big and beautiful and expensive gifts to all of the other grandchildren, but then to my wife and her siblings, she'll give like very cheap, like
Oh, no.
dollar shop gifts,
Oh.
and so that actually caused a big of tension, because there was tension between my wife's grandmother and my wife's mom, and there's some tension in the relationships there, and that overflowed into the children and everything,
Right.
and that left her with a lot of traumas actually to deal with.
Yeah.
A lot of things kind of came from that. So this dynamic here where Rebecca loved, or she preferred, Jacob, and Isaac preferred Esau, that is, I think that's going to be playing up a little bit in that story.
I think I can imagine maybe how this could happen somewhat innocently, because one of the parents sees the other parent, and they think that they are giving favoritism to one, and so they try to correct. Okay, your father preferred Esau,
Yeah.
so I'm going to prefer Jacob here just to balance it out. And then the father sees that and then gives more to Esau just to balance out what his wife's doing. So it feeds off each other.
It feeds off each other. And that they are opposite because you see, well, at least Isaac was a doer as well. He was he was a builder. He was the
Yeah,
builder of the
yeah.
Bible. He was like building things there everywhere. So I think that he kind of related to Esau being the man of action, where Jacob was the guy that likes to stay at home, to cook, and so on. So I think that there was that element there, the mom appreciated. But we're going to see how these two dynamics are going to be playing out, because there's going to come an episode in the relationship of these two boys that is actually going to change everything.
Yeah.
It's going to change everything for not only their story, but for the story of the people of Israel. And behold, I think even for the story
history.
of the world, yes. And it's all revolving around a bowl of
Porridge.
lentils.
Yeah,
Yes.
lentils, yeah.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
And we're now going to answer the previous quiz question. So if you texted us, you will find out if you were right or wrong, and we're going to serve you a brand new question after that. So, Producer Shell, what was the fill-in-the-blank answer again?
Our fill-in-the-blank answer for Psalms 27, verse 14, was the word wait. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord.
That's right. You know why I also stumbled a little bit and took my time? Because usually I
You
was
needed
thinking,
to wait.
Yeah, but usually there's some verses that say wait on the Lord.
Right,
And
okay.
So
yes.
not all verses say wait for. the
Right,
Lord.
yeah.
Very good. Thank you so much, Producer Shell. What's the next quiz question?
Okay. What is the day referred to when the apostles received the Holy Spirit and went out speaking in different tongues? What is that day referred to? The day when the Holy Spirit descended like a flame. We have correct answers in the studio. Do you know the correct answer? Text us in 0491-064-669. If you don't know the answer, you can still try, or you can just text us, I have no idea, and we'll help you out.
That's right. Maybe we can give a. I can give a hint if people need a hint.
Yeah, if you need a hint, text in hint, and we will give you a hint.
Yeah, the meaning of the word is that day is basically means 50 days.
Yeah.
Like, refers to 50 days. It's 50 days after some event. So there you go. All right, then let's get back into the story of Jacob and Esau. Okay, so we're seeing that they grew up. They were very differently. One was a homebody. The other one was a mighty hunter. Dad really enjoyed Esau because he liked, to eat game, meat, like, venison.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever eaten it? I never even tried.
No.
Yeah.
I've never consciously eaten any animal, any meat.
Oh, from your birth.
Yeah, but I have accidentally eaten it a few times, but I don't think I've ever accidentally eaten venison.
Yeah, there you go. So, but venison was one of the favorites of Isaac. And so there was a dynamic there between the mom liking one and the dad, favoring another one. And one day, Esau came back from the field, and he was exhausted. He went for probably a big hunt. Maybe he didn't find anything. He came back home. He was absolutely, he had a hole in his stomach. His stomach was glued to his back.
Yeah, right.
And he was absolutely desperate. I don't know if you ever felt
I've never
like
heard
this.
that stomach glued to your back.
Yeah. So, and let's see what happened here in verse 30.
Right. And Esau said to Jacob, "Please feed me with that same red stew, for I am weary." Therefore, his name was called Edom.
Okay, let's just pause here. So Jacob was cooking, and I like how your translation is very polite, Dan. You're probably reading from the New King James.
New King James, yeah.
Yeah. I would say that there's, that says like, please let me have a swallow of that red stew.
Yeah.
But the New American Standard Bible, I think it translates that in a bit more of a funny way, which is, I think, a good translation, actually.
Yeah, the NASB is a good translation.
It's a good translation.
Yeah.
It says, please let me have a swallow of that red stuff there.
Right, okay.
The thing is, it's because in Hebrew, he just says, give me a swallow of that red.
That red, yeah. That word is supplied.
That word is
Whatever it
supplied.
is.
Oh, yeah, it's supplied. So give me some of that red stuff there.
Yeah.
So you can see his attitude, his
yeah.
personality coming out. Yeah, just give me that red stuff that you're cooking here. Give me some of that.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting because there's a play of words here that unless you know what's the word in Hebrew, it becomes really weird. Because it says the word for red. Do you know what's the word for red in Hebrew?
I'm going to guess that it's Edom.
It's similar. It's in this case here, it's Adam.
Okay.
Adam. Which is, Adam.
Not Adam as
Not
in
Adam. But Adam, he came from so the earth is called Adama. Okay? Earth, like the planet Earth.
Yeah.
And also the dirt in the ground is Adama. So
Okay.
the man that God created out of the Adama, the dust of the ground, his name is Adam.
Right.
Which means
Okay. Out of the
humanity.
earth.
So it's kind of like almost like you know how these sci-fi old-fashioned sci-fi movies with where there's extraterrestrials and they come and they say greetings earthlings.
Huh. Yeah.
Adam is kind of like an earthling.
Yeah.
Because he was made of the ground. And Adam is the color red. So there's a connection there because, in ancient
Earth
times,
is red.
The earth is red.
Yeah.
And so Esau says, hey, give me a little bit of this Adam, some of this red stuff, because I'm famished. And therefore his name was called Edom. He actually he got a nickname from that episode called Edom, which Edom also means, has that kind of connotations of being red. So he says, after this episode, his nickname was like the red guy.
Interesting, because he could have already had that, being a redhead.
He could have already had that. Yes, that's right. Being a red-haired man himself. But the interesting thing you will see is that when he was asking to let me have a swallow of that red stuff, of that Adam, you will see that in his actions, he is really, really reenacting the exact same thing that the first red man did, Adam.
Yeah, right.
In the Garden of Eden. So there's I think it's very intentional, or perhaps someone could say maybe it's a coincidence. I think that there's probably not a coincidence here, but this is definitely being highlighted in the story because what Esau is going to do was exactly what Adam did in the Garden of Eden. He was going to sell his birthright. He's going to sell his authority for
For
a
something
morsel
to
of
eat.
food.
Yeah.
For a bite. Let's keep reading here. Verse 31.
But Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright as of this day." And Esau said, "Look, I am about to die, so what is this birthright to me?" Then Jacob said, "Swear to me as of this day." So he swore to him and sold his birthright to Jacob. And Jacob gave Esau bread and stew of lentils. Then he ate and drank, arose, and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright.
Yeah. So the Bible is very so Esau despised his birthright. Jacob, his name means something as well. A lot of people say that Jacob's name means supplanter
Or deceiver.
or deceiver.
Yeah.
And it is partially true. And the reason that I said it's partially true is because, look, just bear with me here. What mother would call his son a deceiver?
Yeah, no one. So it's based on an idiom because he grabbed the heel
That's
of
right.
Esau as he came out
That's
as the
right.
second child.
That's right.
And so that word literally means, I think, something, and you will know better than me, someone who grabs the heel,
Yeah,
which figuratively means supplanter and deceiver.
Exactly.
It just so happens.
Exactly. It's kind of like the heel,
Yeah.
And so you're right. So there's a connection there. Because if I'm grabbing someone's heel, I can grab someone's heel to trip
deceive.
them.
Yeah.
To deceive.
Yeah.
So the deceiver here, and we see here, I think that we're seeing almost like a new Garden of Eden here. You have a deceiver
Yeah.
that is offering,
Something to eat.
to eat, and that the person thinks it's going to be great. It's going to be. So Jacob is really playing. He's reenacting what the devil's role was
Yeah.
in the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
He's the deceiver, and the thing here is the difference is that in the Garden of Eden, is that Satan he actually sold the forbidden fruit to Eve in particular, as something really desirable that's going to give you supernatural powers and abilities and things that, is going to make you, feel great and all these kinds of things. God doesn't want you. You're going to have like godlike powers if you eat from that, Look at me, I'm a snake and I'm talking. How do you think that I managed to talk? Because I ate of that amazing fruit and tree. So you also going to elevate your spiritual experience. And that was the discourse from Satan at the very beginning.
Yeah, so take this food and get something.
That's
whereas
right.
Jacob is saying, take this food and I'm going to get something.
Yeah. So like, are you famished? And Esau was like, I'm going to die. If I don't eat it, I'm going to die. He's very overly dramatic.
Dramatic, yeah.
Yeah, so he was
he's never fasted for more than a meal in his life.
You can see that from his personality, I really like to try to figure out like someone's like the Bible character's personality based on their life, and you can tell here that Edom was the impulsive guy.
Yeah,
he was impulsive, and he said, "Look, my birthright." Actually, it would have been normally like for Jacob to be even asking the birthright. Man, what does it tell? About him, because it would be very shameful. Because imagine if Esau says, "What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?" Let's understand what the birthright is. So the birthright, it was a very big thing in ancient times. First, there was a material component to it. So if you were born first, by the time that your father was going to divide the inheritance between his children, he would allocate the inheritance. He will divide it according to the number of children plus one. So, for example, if you had 2 children and you had, let's say, an inheritance of $100,000, let's say equivalent to that, you would first divide the inheritance in 3 parts, $33,000.
Yeah, right.
And then you would give to the oldest son a double portion.
Yeah, right.
That. So it's going to be so it is basically the firstborn will get double as much as everybody else in the family would get. And the reason for that is not favoritism. The reason for that is that once the father died, the oldest son is supposed now to be the new patriarch, the new leader of the family. And as the leader of the family, you have the responsibility to care for the rest of your extended family, including your siblings and brothers. So having that extra resources there was a way to say, hey, if your brother ever loses everything, you will still have enough to, I'm just almost giving you like a lump sum insurance sum here. And I'm giving to you as the elder because you're the most responsible
and the one who's going
to me.
Be the leader of the family.
That's right. You're the strongest. You're the leader. You have spent more time with me. So if any of your siblings get in trouble, here's the money that you can use to rescue them and to help them restart. So when Esau said, I don't care about my birthright, he's basically saying to Jacob, look, Jacob, I have absolutely no intentions of caring for you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
If you're in trouble, he's basically saying, if you're in trouble, I'll just leave it in trouble. Hope you don't. But if you are, don't count on me. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in doing the whole leadership thing in the family. And as we see here, Esau was not even very much interested in following the God of Isaac.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah, and later in the story, when it comes out, he is quite sad not to miss out on the birthright, but not because he's missing the responsibility of looking after his brother. It's like, oh, is there some blessing for me? Yeah. I want something out of this. So he despised the responsibility, but he didn't despise the material benefit.
That's right. He wanted the material benefit,
yeah,
which he will end up getting, by the way, later on in that story. Because, after Jacob's exile and when he came back, what did he send to his brother? Waves and waves of what? Of gifts. Yeah. Of things. So so Jacob tried to get the brother's birthright, but materially speaking, he ended up really giving it back to his brother. But the ultimate birthright here that we are talking about was the birthright to be a part of the promise that God has given to Abraham. And then later on to Isaac. Rebekah knew from the beginning that the older brother would serve the younger. So I think she had that in her mind, like somehow your brother needs to serve you. And the only way that she probably could see it is if he got his birthright. Right? So I think that Jacob grew up with that story in mind and trying to say, hey, how can I accomplish this prophecy of God, this promise of God, that I will become, that my brother will serve me. So he was making plans in his mind, and he found an opportunity, and he probably in his mind thought, hey, maybe this is from God. And I'm going to, buy my birthright for a plate of lentils.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's confused a prophecy with a command.
Yeah.
He's taken a prophecy as, I've got to make this happen, where a prophecy isn't that. It's God's going to do it.
No, it's God who's going to do it. And God has 1,000 different ways that he's going to do it. It's not just the one way. And when God does things, he does things through the supernatural ways and always through ethical ways. Never unethical ways. So much so that when you actually see the blessing that Isaac was going to gives to Jacob, you see that he ends up there's two blessings. That one blessing is more like the material generic blessing the one that he would have given to Esau, and then the second one that he would give to Jacob anyway contained the spiritual birthright, the spiritual blessing. So there was two kinds of birthrights.
Right. Yeah.
At the end, there was the material one, the earthly one, and there was the heavenly one. And Jacob was going to get the heavenly one irrespective, but he ended up wanting to get the material one as well, and that backfired spectacularly.
Yeah, I said that he confused the prophecy with the command, but I think there was a bit of self-interest there. He wanted an excuse to grab for material blessing.
He wanted an excuse. And look, we too are liable. We too can fall into that trap of sometimes wanting the things of this world, but sacrificing our spiritual integrity as a result, sacrificing our spiritual authority, sacrificing our spiritual standing with God. How many times have I seen people whom, against their better judgment, whom against what the Word of God told them, for example, married the wrong person, or did the wrong thing trying to secure themselves, maybe thinking, hey, if I don't take care of myself, who's going to take care of myself? So we really have to really, ask ourselves and look at the history of our lives and say, hey, what have I compromised? Which promise of God have I not trusted because I wanted something so badly? A relationship, maybe a job, maybe a promotion, maybe money, maybe some peace, whatever it is that we ended up selling our spiritual birthright also for a meager pot of lentils that was not worth it. That's a bit of a reflection question for us to think on today, because you know what? God has something way better for us than just the pot of lentils. Yes, He has something that no pot of lentils can buy, that no money can buy, which is peace.
You're listening to the Breakfast Show podcast on Faith FM. Positively different.
We had been talking about the story of Jacob and Esau and the birthright. One thing that I was thinking here about it then is that Jesus, he obtained the birthright or the spiritual authority over this planet. But you know how he did it? Not through deception, not through might, not through strength, but through love. He earned
self-sacrificing love.
Yes, he earned his birthright to become the leader of this planet. Even though the Bible says, even though he existed in the form of God, he did not regard equality with God a thing to be grasped by force, but he humbled himself. So it is amazing when you see the contrast of how Jesus recovered the birthright of planet Earth back to the human family versus how humans were trying to fight for this birthright, or how Satan tried to get that authority over the earth as well. I think that it is amazing that we can serve a God that has, even though he has all the power, he acts with us based on his humility, in his love, and his meekness.
Yeah, the contrast between selfishness and love.
And love, absolutely. Yeah. And if you enjoyed this Bible study, or if you would like to get a resource here that I have curated for you, I have an incredible genealogy of the book of Genesis. And in that genealogy, it's in high resolution. You find the names of every patriarch who they married, what are the names of their kids. And it's a really cool resource to look at, and it really helps to create this map in your mind about, what happened in the Bible, who's who in the zoo, particularly in the book of Genesis. It is not very easy to find, but if you would like to get a copy of this one, you can text me here to 0491 064 669 with the hashtag #FamilyTree, and I will send that resource completely free for you, so you can add it to your files. You can use it as a reference whenever you need. Let's now answer the quiz question. So, Producer Shell, what is the name of the day where the Holy Spirit fell upon the disciples?
I believe that is the day of Pentecost, and that's what you both answered and got that one correct. So well done to you. And I'm not sure, did we have anyone playing along with that one? I think David's got in there with that one. So
that's right.
Well
the day
done,
of Pentecost, that is also known as the first fruits, the 50 days, I believe, after the spring. I have to double check that. Or after the Passover. It's 50 days after. Yeah. But the Passover is kind of connected because the Passover was in the very beginning of the spring as well.
Right.
In the Jewish calendar. So they are all kind of connected.
Yeah. The spring... The spring feasts.
Yeah, that's right. The spring feasts.
There's three of them.
Very good.
Yeah.
Ben, we have a great show still lined up ahead of us. I'm going to be talking about Donald Trump's latest remarks about Greenland. He basically said that the United States is going to get it the hard way or the easy way. It's their choice. Or is it? We're going to be talking about that. Justin Lawman is going to come and be with us today. And he's going to be talking about what's going on in Iran. There's some massive civil unrest there. He's going to be talking about Renee Goods, the lady that, everybody's talking about, what happened to her, particularly in the context of the ICE raids in the United States. That and much more in today's show, so stay tuned.
Thanks for being a part of the Faith FM family. Join our community on Facebook or get in touch at 1-800-FAITH-FM.